Hey guys, Imaya here, the psycho-spiritual therapist with another video. So today I want to talk about finding your purpose, living your purpose, and living your best life and all of that, because that's such a hot topic right now. And I want to keep it really simple. There is nothing you can do, there's nothing you have to do for living your life's purpose. Then, actually I don't even want to say it that way. I want to say you're already doing it. You're already doing it because the way you are living your life is exactly the way you should be living your life. This is how you are learning and growing. So this is your life's purpose. However, I understand that what we usually think of as living our life's purpose, you know, being our true self, living our highest potential, living your dream life, we have a certain concept of it. And I understand. And this concept comes from us realizing deep down our true nature. And knowing that our experience of it and living it isn't always what we do in each moment to the best of our ability. However, at the same time, you are living your life to your best ability. Doesn't mean to your highest potential in the realm of potential, but you're living your best self, your best life, simply the way you are living. I think it's such an underrated concept in this whole realm of living your purpose and living your best life and your best self and following your bliss. You know, you need to start where you are, and where you are is perfect for the being that you are, for everything that you've experienced, and for everything that you need to learn to keep evolving and expanding into what we think of as our highest potential. The fact that you exist and the fact that you have experiences really truly is enough. If, however, you're watching this video and you do have this feeling of what is my purpose, there is something more for me, kind of like this just a deep inner knowing, you know, then that is fine too. Just don't get it confused with you need to find it and you're not really doing it. So, simply put, your life's purpose is to be yourself. It really couldn't be easier, and it couldn't be harder than that. Because to truly be yourself is not to be confused with being the self that you think you should be. So any mental concepts and mental constructs that you have about yourself, that you have about the way you should live life, that is only an obstruction. You being yourself, like the expression that you intended to be, that you had in mind embarking on this journey, happens organically. It's not something that you can think about. And in fact, probably all the thoughts, likely, pretty much, you can be sure of it, all the thoughts that you have about who you should be, how you should be, where you ought to go, those come from the lower mind, as I call it, or the left brain hemisphere, that comes up with concepts and labels and constructs and belief systems and definitions that most of them don't serve us, or they serve us for a moment, but we keep clinging to it, we keep storing it in this data bank. And it comes from fear. It comes from confusion. Those two are synonymous and go hand in hand. When we are in fear, we are in confusion. So this is the current state of human beings. We think we need to manage our life from fear because we are confused about what's real and what's not. So all that we can do to truly be ourselves, to truly live our life's purpose, again, I always come back to this, is deconstruct your programming, deconstruct your conditioning, deconstruct your belief systems, deconstruct your definitions of life, of what is what, of what it all means. people who are themselves in whatever way, shape, or form, whether that is to be an artist, whether that is to be someone who takes care of cats, whether that is someone that knits sweaters, whether that's someone who's an amazing spiritual teacher. Anytime we see anyone in this world that we get this sense of wow, like wow, they're really living their life's purpose, it's only because they continuously question the things that make them fearful of heading in the direction of where they genuinely feel inspired to go. This is all that you need to know. Your true self is continuously communicating what you came here to do. And again, now I'm kind of using two different concepts. What you came here to do, it's your life's purpose, but at the same time, even if you're not doing that, you're still doing what you came here to do. It's all part of the journey. And you can tell if you're living in fear. You can tell if you're not being your true potential, because there is a sense of discomfort, because there is a sense of, it's not quite it. And trust that feeling. Trust that feeling, because it simply means that you're in the cocoon and you want to come out. But you have a definition, you have an idea, you have a belief system that is causing you to feel fear, to feel all sorts of fears about what's going to happen, instead of simply feeling this pure joy, this pure innocence, this pure excitement. People who are living their life's purpose, so to say, are simply completely innocent. They just love what they do so much, and they don't question if they should be doing it. They don't question if someone wants what they want. They don't question if it's good enough. They're really like children. As a child, we are naturally so playful. We are so much in connection with our deeper self, our truer self, your higher self, if that's what you want to call it. They're playing in each moment, and as grown-ups, all of a sudden we think that it's serious and that people need to take us serious, and that we need to think about our reputation and our status and, of course, our money and our future. Bullshit. Those things will take care of themselves. And you don't have to know what you're going to do next week. I've dropped what you might consider careers one day to the next at the very height, the peak of what you could think of as success. But that's because in relationship to life's purpose is integrity. And integrity comes down to being very, very sensitive to your own bullshit, to what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And for me personally, my integrity in relationship to my life's purpose has always been really strong. Even as a little kid, you couldn't really force me to do anything I didn't want to do, and I thank God. And this is something that, it's an art that a lot of people here have lost. As a kid, I would make my own little magazines. I don't know how old, I was really young. And I would like paint them, and I would write like little articles, and I was very young. And I would go door to door and sell them. Just because I love to create, and I love to communicate, and I naturally market that what I'm enthusiastic about. And for me, the whole thing is fun. Making money is fun. You know, it's not a necessity. It's not like something like, oh, it's like, no, I do something I love. The people who love what I do, we find each other and we're all good. We're all set. What's the issue? The more you are naturally doing what you feel inspired to do, you will feel so rich and so successful and so happy and so abundant that sooner or later your physical reality will catch up with that. For me, even personally, if there of course there are fluctuations for that in my life. But over time, every time meeting those fears and seeing what it really means, it crumbles it. And it makes me see it doesn't matter. What matters, pretty much the only thing in life that matters, is that you do what inspires you, that you do what excites you, that you do what you love. Follow your heart, follow your bliss, follow your passion, live your passion. And again, that doesn't have to mean anything big or anything. But this is a communication from your truer self. That's why your vibration rises, and that's why you feel so good doing that. And that's all you need. And then the people who are like, oh, who need what you're doing, there's always people who need what you're doing. Always, always, always. And you don't have to worry about the quality, because the quality grows as you grow, as you keep doing it. You have to start doing what you're doing for the quality to increase and for you to get the piece of information that you need next. You only need to know what excites you in this moment. I've never waited for anything. I've never waited for myself to be perfect. I've never waited for myself to know everything. I've never waited for me to be a professional. I became a professional simply by so innocently sharing what I love, even when it was shitty. Or, you know, again, that's arbitrary. That doesn't really mean anything. Looking back at it 1 or 2 or 3 years and thinking like, wow, compared to where I am now, I could call that shitty. I don't truly, but just to give you an idea. Wherever you are, if you feel inspired to do it, there is someone who wants it. That's how life works. And so therefore, we don't need to concern ourselves with who needs what I do, how am I going to make money, da-da-da-da-da. You'll feel so rich that the universe can't help but answer to it. You know, like law of attraction stuff, la 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 la. So watch my other video on self-love. Because simply starting to accept everything about yourself, or your funny idiosyncrasies, acceptance is so important on this journey, because it will not make sense. Nothing will make sense to you, because it doesn't have to. It is a leap of faith. You doing what you're supposed to do is being yourself. And the closer you get to really living who you are, then everything falls into place. And there's not really an end to that, but you do cross a threshold where your trust, your faith, and your acceptance of self and everything is kind of a given. And all the rest, all the fears and the problems, they'll be kind of like waves, but the waves will be less and less throwing you off your center. So for example, for the longest time in my life, I really thought like, wow, I'm such a lazy person. I could get so much more done. I have so much inspiration. I could make 20 of these videos a day. Why don't I? Because to be honest, most of the time that's not for me. That's not how my energy functions. Now, I remind myself time and time again, there is no rush. I do this for fun, not for money, not for validation, not for me to validate myself. Because why would I think that if I wasn't using it as a tool to validate myself? So all those things that get in the way of your innocent and pure joy and excitement, those are simply getting in the way. And what you'll find on the other side of that is that all the things about you are there for a reason. Some of them might be coming out in a shadowy way or in a distorted way because you're not accepting them. So I was actually making myself less productive and more lazy or more stuck in ways because I wasn't accepting of my natural rhythm and flow. So sometimes I don't do anything for 3 days. Other times I work from I can't even use the word work, but you know, I create from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. Sometimes I don't create for a month because I'm in a deep internal process and I come out with so much new awareness. I would have shot myself in the foot trying to create in that time. Because I trust the cycles of hibernation and creation. Hibernation and creation, if you will. Of going in and going out. Going in and going out. And that takes trust. It takes trust to not know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, social media is a big part of my work. I've never, for the last 10 or so years, not have had a job as in a boss. I don't do marketing, nothing. I only use social media. And I've done this, you know, now it's very normal for people to do this. I've been doing this for so long. Why? Because I naturally felt called to do that. I naturally felt drawn to share a lot. Oh, I didn't know. Turns out that's how people know who you are, and they like what you do, and they give you money. Great. I didn't set out with that idea or intention. Now, after so many years, it's become clear to me, like, oh, this is how it works. It's part of my work. And yet, right now, I'm not on social media. I haven't been for like 2 weeks. I don't know when the desire comes to get back. Yes, my entire income relies on it. And no, I'm not going to sacrifice what's true for me. I simply trust. Because that is the only thing that has continuously proven to be true, to be right for me. If I don't, I suffer, I struggle, I create problems, and then in the end, I still come to the same conclusion, always. So I'm kind of taking out the middleman as much as I can in my life. Suffering only wants us to know that we're creating issues for no reason. Suffering can only come out of confusion, fear, and let's use just those 2 words, confusion and fear, which are, you know, and I know I always come back to clarity. So these days, I just remind myself as often as I can, I don't have to create confusion right now. I just have to see what is, what do I feel like, and trust that feeling. And if 2 hours from now, I kind of sense like, oh, it's something else that's blocking me, then I work with it. But I trust whatever arises in the moment. And so also I trust my own personality. I trust my natural instincts. How do we know when to pee? How do we know when to eat? We simply know. And this is how we also know who and what we truly are and what our purpose is in life. But if you're eating on a schedule, for example, then that schedule is something that you need to reconsider. That's a conditioning, that is a programming. So if you have any confusion about who you are, what you came here to do, you don't have to figure it out. You just have to start looking at all the conditioning, all the fear that you have around being truly yourself. Your true self is naturally successful and abundant and fulfilled and satisfied and creative and inspired as fuck. You don't have to create that. You just have to unlearn a lot of things that you've learned.